Can I ask you something, Miss Evelyn? Do you know what her pain is? Because the only reason a person would behave in this manner,
we're not going to throw this behavior word around again. We're not going to do that. She does not have a behavior problem, and that's not fair.
First of all, your finger in my face is not going to work for me.
But the name calling is not going to work for me. Because I don't appreciate you keep throwing out these names. What about my disrespect? All I have been is disrespectful. I've been called.
What if I told you that the real issue isn't Tamar? What if Miss E has always been the Braxton family's real villain? The Braxton family is becoming extremely chaotic, and Tamar is once again in the center of it all. Every time Tamar posts something on social media, people criticize her, labeling her attention-seeking and disorderly, and saying she has a very public reputation for harboring resentment. However, Tamar continues to allow others to place the blame on her.
Run your life.
How dare he try to tell me how to raise my kids after he have abandoned us? He has some nerve.
Y'all have lives to live yourself, and she can't run her life, her home, and your home too.
You know what? Had you been home long enough to help me to raise them, it wouldn't be such a problem. But where were you? Out there hanging in the street?
What did you do
doing whatever
all day?
you were
What
big
did you
enough
do
to do
all day long?
Let's be honest, after all, we have seen and heard everything that Tamar has to offer. Beefing with her sisters, tearing every bridge possible, and relationship problems with Vince Titunia. This year, she went one step further and put Funky down under the bus by suggesting that she might have been attacked following a night out, or worse, that she might have slept with some of Tony's men.
Steal anything.
You don't. You sold men.
Who's the man that I stole?
Tony's. You slept with them a few times.
Who? What man?
You not get the lead. Oh,
bitch. Dirty, low-down ass bitch.
Oh, you're such a liar. Such a liar.
When she was acting in this manner a few years ago, it was all enjoyable. In the early seasons of Braxton Family Values, it was so fantastic that she became the audience favorite. However, Tamar does something that shocks everyone every year, and people have simply grown weary of her destructive conduct. Although she frequently claims to be on a healing path, the majority of people believe that she has simply become worse, with some even stating that Tamar truly needs help. She needs love from a distance because she is draining. Tamar never considers herself to be incorrect. She doesn't realize how cruel she can be and feels assaulted all the time. Nearly 50-year-old Tamar gets into arguments with everyone. She won't ever change. Although Tamar's dramatic behavior isn't particularly shocking, some have suggested that she should withdraw right away to avoid damaging the public's favorable opinion of her. However, Tamar isn't letting any discussion about her go unaddressed as usual. And in typical Tamar fashion, she's blaming everyone but herself, especially Miss Evelyn, her mother. Each of the sisters has been harboring hatred and animosity for some time. Tamar is the only person who has ever publicly discussed it. And additionally, this is the first time she's publicly linked the conduct to her childhood. She's always witnessed her mother's struggle to let go and harbor resentment, particularly with the way Evelyn's marriage to her ex-husband, Michael Braxton, ended.
Some things out her mouth that are really cutting.
But your daughters are being held emotionally hostage to your ex-wife's bitterness towards you. You and her need to get on the same side of the table and free those girls. Because the elephant in the room that nobody will talk about is Evelyn Braxton's attitude.
I mean, Evelyn and Michael divorced more than 20 years ago when she discovered he was unfaithful. However, Evelyn still harbors an absurd amount of animosity and bitterness toward Michael. Additionally, it is said to have established the standard for how Tamar and her sisters handle hurt and animosity in their relationships, and even in their interactions with one another. Not only did they observe rage, but they also took in...
They look at me as a sister. They don't like me. We were very close as kids, very close as young adults, and now where we are in our lives, that relationship no longer serves us. And I would hate to keep arguing with them and keep building negative memories instead of building and relying and thinking of the good memories that we had.
Even the oldest sister, Tony, comes across as the most sophisticated, despite being as untidy. her messiness is just a little more subdued. Without a doubt, Evelyn is equally toxic and domineering. In fact, she forced the children to take sides during her and Michael's divorce. She also mistreated anyone who wished to support their father. Tracy still wished to keep up contact with their father, especially since she lived the closest to him in Maryland, which is why Evelyn and Tracy didn't really agree. Evelyn was not at all pleased about that. Additionally, Evelyn is said to have harbored that resentment until Tracy's death. However, Tamar, who is the youngest, strongly supported her mother during this entire situation and is said to have never truly taken any action without first consulting her. And that turned into a major issue that exacerbated codependency.
She said she thought was right.
Pitiful lie, too.
And as long as you agree with her, she's fine. And it's the same thing with y'all. If y'all don't agree with her, she is pissed. And it's time for y'all to stop letting your mother run y'all.
According to Tamar, in addition to the animosity and bitterness her mother instilled in them, she also loved the sound of her own voice and always thought she was correct about everything. Additionally, she was usually quick to silence Tamar's opinions if they didn't agree with her, and she expected Tamar and her sisters to follow her instructions. Because of the shame that comes with constantly being reminded of how Evelyn raised all 6 of them as a single mother when their father, Michael Sr., departed the house, it is difficult for any of the sisters, especially Tamar, to oppose her mother. Tamar was raised in precisely such a kind of setting. Furthermore, not much has changed in the past 20 years. Evelyn still harbors a great deal of hatred, which frequently affects her daughters.
Picking up what I'm putting down. So looking at Tina Knowles and her children, and looking at Evelyn Braxton and her girls, it's proof to me that forgiveness or unforgiveness and bitterness can trickle down to your kids. I feel like Tina Knowles is the reason why Solange and Beyonce are able to persevere and press through adversity with grace and poise. I know this is a weird way to put it, but Beyonce and Solange was able to see their parents go through a healthy divorce. Even Miss Tina acknowledged that they did not go back and forth. And honestly, she had every reason to be bitter and not forgive him for having an outside baby on her. And then on the other hand, we can look at Miss Evelyn Braxton and see why her daughters are still on each other's neck in their 40s and 50s.
People are also supporting Tamar since it's clear that Evelyn Braxton set the standard for disrespect and that Tamar may have been affected by her actions over time. I believe I want to compile a list of villains that people don't consider to be villains, and I'll start with Evelyn Braxton. Evelyn Braxton stands in for a lot of us, toxic mothers who have brought us up to be mentally damaged women who act like they have it all together. The Braxton family has always been toxic, and Evelyn is the primary issue because she kept it over her children's heads and made them stay together in spite of their problems. Tamar is constantly used as a scapegoat due to her mouth and demeanor, and the girls don't get along. However, what are your thoughts on this? Please share your thoughts in the comments section, and remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'll see you in the upcoming video. Batteries.